Tryon. I am the team leader of Pineapple Homes, and today we are covering, what are we covering? We're covering Geofarm. All right, who here does Geofarm? Who here knows what Geofarm is? 4 of us, okay. Okay, Geofarm is just choosing an area that you constantly send direct mail to. Now who here does Geofarm? Awesome. Does anybody get business by sending mailers? Okay, great. Does anybody want to get business by sending mailers? Because that's what we're talking. If you don't want, if you're not going to do this, you should just leave. It's fine. Great. Okay. So Geofarm is, we send out anywhere from maybe 3,000 to 10,000 units a month. And these are direct mail pieces. So if Lexi lives in Makakilo, Lexi will receive a letter that says, "Hi Lexi, my name is Devin Tryon. I'm a local realtor here. Have you had any thoughts of selling?" Or she might get a postcard, or she might get something that's handwritten. We'll typically mix it up. Now, geographic farming, the whole purpose of this is to generate what type of clientele? Come on, you guys got this. Listing, sellers, yeah, so you want to generate sellers. And so the number one thing that you are trying to do is you want to be able to stick your sign in the ground. And so when people are listing their home, they're recommending you, they see your face, you're the one with the listing, you're the person they have to reach out to. Because what is the benefit of having a seller versus having a buyer? Who here thinks they know? Actually, let's all write down what you think are maybe 1 or 2 benefits to working with sellers rather than working with buyers. And then I want to hear what you guys think the benefits are. It's really anywhere on your paper. Stephanie, what do you think are one of the benefits of working with a seller rather than a buyer?
I can't talk over that. They don't need to qualify. Like they already own it. They don't need to qualify, so they can just choose to sell.
Nice. What else? What do you guys think? Go ahead, Joey.
More information about the neighborhood. So if you need to pull comps of some sorts, and then they probably know more about the insides and outs.
Okay, so maybe your clientele is a little bit more experienced, is what I'm hearing. What else? What do you think, David Wong?
Saves you time.
Saves you time. How does it save you time?
You don't have to do all that showing.
All right, so listen to this. If I decide that I'm going to work with a buyer, and Autumn is my first buyer, and Wayne is the agent. So Wayne has to go, he has to meet Autumn, he has to bring her all around town, has to tell her about the neighborhoods, has to make sure she's home before 8 o'clock so she can go to bed because she's so tired. All of these things Wayne has to be in charge of. If you're going to make phone calls, I'll have you step out, okay? That's you too. Yeah, thank you. All right, so all of these things take what? They take time. Yeah, it's a lot of effort. If I'm going to be showing Jeremiah properties, I might have to spend half a day for 5 or 6 times over the course of a month or 2 showing him all these places. But here's my question. If you've got your listing systems dialed in, how many times do you have to go to the property? At a minimum. Of course, it could be more. How many times, at a minimum, though, do you have to go to a property to sell it? You could get down to 1 time. I have sold houses I've never been inside of before. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, if you have a good team that knows what they're doing and how to do things. So you could sell a house, technically, without leaving your bedroom. You don't have to go anywhere. And if that's your entire system, you could sell a lot more homes than you could work with buyers. That is the benefit of working with buyers. Simultaneously, when buyers are interested in properties and they are unrepresented, who do they reach out to? The listing agent. So if Melody is the listing agent for every single house in Eva Beach in Huakalei, and somebody wants to buy in Huakalei, and I would say maybe 50% of buyers are unrepresented, they're going to call Melody. They have no choice, Wayne, but to call her for the listing. It's actually really fantastic because her name is on it, her sign is on it. If they have questions, they call her. And then Melody's first question when she answers the phone and starts to chat with them is, by the way, Stephanie, do you already have a broker? Do you already have somebody that's helping you, getting you inside of properties, looking at homes, giving you comps? And the answer is typically no if they're reaching out to her. And if they're reaching out to Melody and they do have a broker, then we know they're probably not doing a very good job. So it's her responsibility to convert that buyer. It's really, really great. And the tool, the system we're going to cover on how to generate listings, Andrea, from direct mail, we're going to do right now. So everybody pull out your packet and go to the page where it says Farm to Fortune Exercise. And we all are going to become farmers today. So get your gloves on. Okay, so the very first thing we need to do is we want to define our target area. Now I have some recommendations on this. First of all, do it somewhere close to where you live, ideally. If you have to drive an hour to go to this place every single time, it's less likely you're going to be able to service it as well. Our goal is to get 1, 2, 5, 25 listings in this neighborhood over the next couple of years. You're going to be driving there a lot. If you live in Hawaii Kai, don't choose Makaha. Like, you're just making your life more challenging. So first thing you need to do is choose an area, and I recommend starting small. If you've never done this before, choose 500 homes, 500 units, or maybe one building if you live in a condo. But here's what we want to do. We're going to compare two variables about this prospect base, this condo, this farm area. Number one, right next to your area, write the average sales price for this area. If you're choosing to farm, I probably wouldn't recommend choosing a $150,000 leasehold building. The return on your investment, because you're going to spend a considerable amount of money on this, isn't going to be that worthwhile. Then, what is the second, who thinks they know, what is going to be the second variable in your farm area that you want to be aware of, Andrea? What do you think? What do you think the second variable that we need to really pay attention to is? How the market is? Okay, you're on to something. What do you got, Chris? Turnover rate. Who knows what turnover rate is? Awesome. Turnover rate is how many homes sell over how many homes there are. So for example, Kaimoki has roughly how many homes, would you guys say? Probably about 1,500 to 2,500 at the most. How many sales are in there in Kaimoki every year? There's like a dozen, maybe 20 if you really count the condos in that area. So we know Kaimoki, I would say realistically, Kaimoki has a 1% turnover ratio. And so now we need to keep in mind that we're going to be sending mail knowing, Chris, that only 1% of these homes are going to sell every year. And it's not that many. And it's a lot of money to spend for probably a lot of homes that aren't going to be selling. Whereas, what's the turnover rate of Makakilo, the area that I farm? What do you guys think? 6%. Yeah, it's like 5.75. So I know out of every 100 homes, there's going to be 6 sales, which is awesome because that means technically there is 6 times more opportunity in Makakilo farming than there is Kaimoki. Now you have to weigh the difference between what? The price points. So what you're going to do is you're going to do a little conversion number. So what I want you to do, take your total market area, and then I want you to write a number in volume of total volume available per year. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's say Kaimoki has 12 sales for $1 million a piece. That is a $12 million available opportunity. Does that make sense? Okay. And now, Makakilo, let's just, for easy numbers, let's say it's $500,000. We know out of the same number of homes, there's 6 times as many. We know that if there's going to be, let's just say, 50 sales at $500,000 a piece, that means there's 25 million of available market opportunity. 12 million versus 25 million, meaning you're going to put in the same amount of money and you're going to get roughly 2x the amount of return. Because this is an expensive way to generate business, but it is effective if you do it the right way. So now we should all have an area that we have decided to focus as our farm. Who here wants to, I just want to hear some neighborhoods or areas that you guys have chosen. What do you guys think? What you got?
I thought Ina, but now I'm thinking.
Where?
Ina.
Okay, so Andrea put Ina, but now she's thinking.
Well, I don't know what the rate there is.
It's about 2.5%. Because I looked at doing Ina, but I decided not to. Yeah. Okay, what else? What other areas have you guys chosen? Eva Beach? Yeah, Eva Beach is huge, but that's a great neighborhood. No, you cannot go wrong farming in Eva Beach. Like you can't blow it. I promise you. You cannot mess it up. Yeah, it's a good one. Okay, so now we've chosen where we're going to do this, and then now we need to choose how are we going to farm this neighborhood. Now we're really focusing on mail, but there's a lot of ways to do it. So weekly emails, events, social media, organic social media, so this would be like content marketing, doing videos around best place to live in Eva Beach, best restaurants in Eva Beach, best schools in Eva Beach, things that people click on. Door knocking, you can just physically go out there. You don't have to spend the money and mail them. You can just go knock on their door and talk to them person to person. It's a lot of work, especially summertime, it's kind of hot. In Makakilo, you've got a lot of hills, so you get really strong calves, but you'll get a lot of business if you do it. And then, of course, you can create a Facebook social media page. Has anyone done that before? It's a really great way to drive demand. Here's what you do. You move to an area. So, for example, I should do this with my building. I don't know why I haven't. You move to an area, and then, okay, so today, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go home. I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to create a Facebook group titled Pacifica Honolulu Unit Owners. I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to just start adding all the other owners in the building, and then as people request to access this page, I'm going to look at their profile. I'm going to be like, who is David Wong? Does he live here? And I'll be like, okay, he lives here. I'll be like, ooh, David Wong works for Century 21, and I'm going to be like, reject. David Wong doesn't get in my Facebook page. Sorry, David.
I'm not with Century 20.
I know, but as an example. And so another realtor is going to try to join your page, and you're going to be like, no. And so now you get all the owners in the building, and you control the messages. So when you have new listings, you're posting there. When you're talking about listings, you're posting there. Anything real estate related, and it goes through you. And then everybody else will post and do all these things too. But you are now the benefacto president of this Facebook page. And it didn't cost you a single thing. I'm going to go home and do this because I don't know why I haven't done it yet for my building. It makes no sense. Okay, and then of course you can start a blog, which for communities, for buildings a little tough, but for communities really fantastic. If Melody decides to start blogging about living in Huakale, all the things going on, all the beach park, the park that just opened, all of these things, she will start getting people that click on it, read it, and then also she will brand herself as the Huakale Realtor. It is a really, really effective way, and it takes a lot less time than you think to drive business as long as you're consistent. Because realistically, in an area like that where you're selling homes between $900,000 to $2 million, 1 or 2 home sales will by far pay for the cost of whatever we're putting into these types of activities. All right, so what I want you guys to do is go through these tactics and just write kind of like plus and minuses of things that you would be interested in doing in your local neighborhood, and then take some notes, and then depending on how you want to build this out, go ahead and craft your content plan. We're going to take a few minutes around geographic farming and building a database in these communities. And really put some thought into it. Like, okay, January I'll send a letter. February I'll do this. March I'm going to start working on this blog. April I'll start creating this Facebook event and start inviting people to it. So start working on that now. Hey guys, we just had a really good question. How do you calculate the turnover ratio? Like physically, like where do you go? How do you find it? What do you do? Who thinks they know the answer to this question? What do you guys think? Just anybody. Here, let's start with this. What is the formula for calculating turnover ratio? The formula. Chris says, how many divided by how many sold? Close. No, that's it. So take the total number of sales in the last 12 months, and under that, divide it by the total amount of homes that exist in that area. And then that will give you your turnover ratio. But how do you actually find that? Like, how do you find those numbers?
Oh, go to MLS, go to sold in the past year, and then like if you're doing like either a building, put the building name or just circle on the map where you want to be.
Okay, so that'll tell you how many sales there have been. Okay, but how do we find the other component of that ratio? The total number of homes in an addressable market.
How about total number of listings and unsold listings?
Close. I mean, that's something we can consider, but what we're looking for is how do we find out how many homes exist in Eva Beach? Yeah, Realist. Has anybody ever used Realist? So if you have MLS, there's a tool called Realist. You go into it, you can draw a little map, a little polygon around your specified area. You click all, you click search, and then it will tell you exactly how many homes exist there. Yeah. And if you are not tech savvy enough to do that, then you can just call escrow and they'll help you do it too. Yeah. Whichever you prefer. Okay. Good. Keep working on this. That's a good question.
I mean, you can try.
All right. So does everybody have some form of content plan? Or who doesn't have a content plan?
I have a content plan.
I don't see a paper. I recommend you do the exercises. Cool. All right, so I want to hear from some of you guys what you're planning, and I'm just gonna randomly call out some names. What you got, Brian?
My first one is to pass my real estate exam, but then as soon as I pass it, I'm planning on doing social media just because I feel like I can definitely target the youth. Not only that, I'll be able to personally connect with them and be able to communicate with them in their lingo, and hopefully that would be beneficial to me in business.
Cool, focusing on social. Awesome. What do you got?
I'm not get used to social media so much, so I more focus on door knocking. It's maybe, sometimes it's, and I do open house a lot for me to do. But for this case, so maybe once or 3 months mailing out for the targeting neighborhood, that I'm thinking to do.
Nice. So mailing every 3 months, and then door knocking probably around the same time as well. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And that's really depending on how many homes are going to be in the area that you're going to focus on, do you think? Well, that's okay. If you choose 500, that'll probably cost you $500 per mailing, so about $2,000 a year. And then if you do door knocking about once a week for an hour, I really think you could generate 2 or 3 good listings from that. Open house even more. Yeah, definitely. Stephanie, I'd love to pick on you.
Thank you. I put for April social media because we only have a few more days left in April and I want to at least start with something. And that just seems like something easy to just go with. May, a blog. Not the best writer, but I do like to give it a chance. It's kind of fun. And then I'm not ready for mail outs yet, so I pushed that to June and I didn't get out of that.
Cool. Good job, everybody. So here's my tip. I'm going to go through a bunch of things I recommend about this. Number 1, as you're doing this, the most important thing is consistency. So if you do this activity for 6 months and you don't see any results, I want you to know that is common and should be expected. You will probably make $0 in your first 6 months of starting this activity. Maybe even the first 12 months. But then, you might make a sale. And then if you keep doing it, you might get 2 or 3. And then before you know it, after just a few years of really focusing on the same areas, you could have 60 to 70% market share in a specific neighborhood. meaning 60 or 70% of all listings go through you. You are the local expert. Even if they don't know who you are, John, they know that you are the broker here in this neighborhood. So I can think of maybe 2 or 3 agents that have really branded themselves as experts in their neighborhoods. Who thinks they know who some of these agents are on Island? What do you got, Mel?
Let's do it, Doug.
Let Doug get it. That guy has so many awesome listings in Huakalei. And you know what he does? He has this sign that says, Doug did it again. And he puts his sign up after it sells. And then he'll cruise around on his golf cart because he lives in the community. And he'll cruise between his listings. I think it's awesome. It's so cool. There's a couple ladies that have really gone all in on Kahala neighborhoods, Pat Choi being one of them. If you go down Kahala, you are bound to see her signs. I promise you. I have, from when I started 10 years ago, I still see her signs on the $10 to $30 million listings. I really don't see her less than that. But she's done a really fantastic job, and I would not be surprised if she does this consistently. But now she's been doing that area for decades. And keep in mind, if you are going to break into a new area that somebody else is targeting, it's going to be a war of the wallets. Meaning, who is willing to spend more money to get the market share? And so I would recommend if there's already a dominant agent in your market, David, don't try and compete with somebody that already has that legacy there. Just find the neighbor next door and go through that. It will be much cheaper and more beneficial. Cool. We're going to open up to questions about geofarming in general. Go ahead, John. So John's question is, can you focus on a neighborhood or a subsection of a neighborhood, whether it's a price point or a different variable? You can do whatever you want. For example, when we send out a lot of our mailers, we'll actually target. We've stopped doing geographic farming, like a blank letter to everybody in a neighborhood. And what we focused on is, have they bought and sold in the last 2 to 5 years with a VA loan? Or do they have a certain amount of equity? So you can go through and choose these variables that will make your list much more, it will turn it a lot higher conversion. Yeah. But you could very easily just go by tax assessed values. As long as you're hitting the same people over and over, that's the most important component. Yeah, no, really good question. Yeah, thank you. Cool. Does everybody feel like they could go home and send out one piece of mail now? Ooh, mailing services. Okay, so here's what you're going to need to do to actually start. Step 1, you're going to go to Realist, and you're going to pull the list of all the names and numbers of, the names of people that you want to send this letter to. So draw a map, select the list, download it as an Excel file. If you do not know how to do this, your escrow company will do this for you. Just tell them what you want and how many homes. It's one email, it's very easy. Then you want to go through that list and you want to remove LLCs, churches, schools, government land, commercial properties. You can leave the trusts. Okay. And so now you should be left with mostly just people's names and where they live. And then you can choose if you, Brian, want to send it to them, just the ones that live and own the house, or if you want to send it to the ones that maybe are off island and potentially want to sell. I recommend doing both. Then, now you have a list. You're going to use a mailing service. You could do it yourself, which is probably slightly more expensive. One company we use is called Uprint, letter U, print.com. Another one there is called Handywritten. They'll send handwritten cards. Go ahead.
Do those handwritten ones look like an actual person hand wrote them, or like a computer did a handwritten card? It doesn't fool anyone.
Maybe. Hard to tell. Either way, it's like, wow, you do think about, you're like, this is great handwriting. Yeah, hard to say. Yeah, we use them. They've been effective. Yeah. Cool. And so then you send this out. And you do this once a month for a year, and you do not complain about not receiving any calls. That is the #1 rule, because for the first 6 months you won't receive anything. But eventually you will get a lot of business from this if you do it. Cool. Good job, everybody. That's it. We're done. Thank you.